Well, this has to do with the model, the sausage making. This is the past. So America, China, Australia, we're all trying to pursue the sausage making system. But some systems have been better than others. So let's take a look at the results. I'm going to explain with the one thing. Here's the data. So, test scores. It's interesting. I've been examining this data for a long time. It's funny. So in 2003, on TIMSS, third international mathematics science study, American students, as usual, their test scores are very low compared to Asian countries. Asian countries always top. But on the same assessment, there's other question asked about confidence, interest, and enjoyment. Means, do you think you do well in mathematics? Do you think you like mathematics? Do you think math is important? So on one score, the confidence score, American students are worse, much worse than Asian kids, but they are much more confident. I may know nothing, but I think I know it. That's the model, the Asian model. So you got all this data. They have been pursuing this data for a long time. The most recent data come from most recent test, just released in December 2012. You look at the Koreans get 613 in a math score. America has 509, but in Korea only 3% of Korean students think they do well in math. But you got 24%, almost 40% Americans, I can do well in mathematics, you know. I may not know, but I believe I do. And so, this is data. In Singapore, 40% of kids, in America, 40% think they know, they're confident. Singapore, only 18%. If I move around this globally, there's some negative correlation. On the PISA too, actually, Finland, for example, they score high on science, but they don't really like science. You know, in Hong Kong, they're number one in reading, but nobody reads. So you get all this scores, really interesting negative correlation. Countries have high scores, lower enjoyment, lower confidence. And then if you look at some other bigger data, this is Finland, I have a lot of data. Entrepreneurship, countries have higher math scores, lower entrepreneurial capabilities. Confidence. Somehow it's very interesting. So America's education, as bad as it has been, has cultivated a group of people who are arrogant and confident. But you know, confidence underpins creativity and entrepreneurship. If you don't have a confidence, you cannot be creative, you cannot be entrepreneurial. So somehow, we manage to retain that piece. Then the second explanation has to do with Lady Gaga. I love Lady Gaga, and now you can replace Lady Gaga with Kim Kardashian or with the Honey Boo Boo. You can replace her with anything. It doesn't matter. It's just the whole point is this. What does Lady Gaga know and do? It doesn't really matter. Or Kim Kardashian as well. Do you know her? Does she live here? No? Okay. I saw her in Australia recently, and she was in the elevator. I called my daughter, the 14-year-old daughter. I said, who is Kim Kardashian? Why people camp outside for her? She said, well, she's a celebrity. I said, what does she do? Nothing. I said, okay, wow, okay. So that's the answer I was waiting for, okay. You can be wealthy for doing nothing, right? That's America. That's the beauty of it. It means, in the US, this is what I call the new economy. When we are losing those jobs in manufacturing, making cars, agriculture, we are making new products, new services. We have entered the age of abundance beyond the age of necessity. I come from an age of necessity in my village. My Chinese village, we work hard for everything. Everything that matters has to be able to feed us so we don't starve or keep us warm. In the US, I came to the US 20 years ago. I found this completely different. In the United States, for example, you know how much money we spend convincing people to eat? The food packaging, the commercial advertisement. In my village, nobody has to do anything to convince me to eat. Actually, I was fighting for food. And the second thing, after we feed you, what a big facility would build, industry would build for you to lose that, what you just eat. Do you notice that, right? None of those are necessary. Then look at the grass, lawns. You water it, you fertilize it. The only purpose is to cut your grass, right? Now, that's called the age of abundance. We create products and services that meet psychological and cultural needs. We need diversity of talents. So, but Lady Gaga could not have survived my village because she would not be very useful. In my village, we value our common core in my village was the ability to drive the water buffalo. That's a common core subject, okay, in my village. And, well, that's important. I wasn't good. I had to leave, okay, so I left my village. I come here to talk to you guys, to debate with you about common core. So according to that common core standards, she would be useless. Think about it. I mean, she can't drive a water buffalo. There's no way. I mean, she might, but, it's... but America's education system, we preserved it. We allowed people like Lady Gaga to exist. Because we have the belief, as Albert Einstein said this, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it's stupid. We have been doing this for a long time. You speak Spanish, everybody don't speak English, that's dumb, just you see what I mean? That's the idea. So true explanation is very simple. America as an education system, as a sausage maker, has not done a good job in homogenizing everybody to do the same thing, has not done a good job enough to kill people, to make them believe they're inadequate. So America has survived for these years by accident. Because of local control, teacher professional autonomy, lack of standards, the traditional American education virtues. Actually, America has 6 different virtues in American traditional education. Local control, lack of standards, I would call it. We call it forgiving open system, separation of church and state, gender neutral, for example. We can, all those kind of things. They're different virtues, and we're losing that. We're losing the second opportunities. So we have been successful by accident, and this is what I would think American education. Below that, there's 6 different virtues, I think, American traditional virtues we have. So now, if you take that model, Asian countries or Finland, we can produce better test scores because we're good at sausage making, we're good at homogenizing, we're good at make sure you know nothing but what I prescribe for you. America has given something else. What I would argue today, to create a new middle class, we need a new paradigm. We need to turn our accidents into a design. The design is to enhance everybody's talents. To keep your children out of the basement, something very simple. Discover their talent. Everybody can be useful. If Lady Gaga is useful, anyone can be useful. Just remember that. Create a personalized education system that supports and enhances every child, not to impose upon them what they should do. That's why I think the Common Core is fundamentally wrong. I don't care if you get 21st century skills, 23rd century skills, because it tries to require everybody to do the same thing at the same pace, at the same time, and that's just not going to work. Because a lot of times standards do not become supported, become selection criteria. They will further damage our children's confidence. Now I know, I'm much worse than 90% of the country now. How does that make you feel? Every child needs to be respecting their own way. The second model, we need to move towards product-driven education. Third, education has to happen in the globalized campus. Our children in the future, if they can become globally competent, language and culturally, entrepreneur means do not wait for somebody else to solve a problem for them, to hand a job for them. They take action like Finding Voice, like you guys do. And if they have creativity, they will stay out of your basement. If you heard more about, read the book or come to my next session. Thank you. 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 Thank you.
Again, please, a warm round of applause for our speaker, Dr. Zhao. And we'd like to thank you very much for advocating for a system that recognizes the diversity of talents we know that our students have. And now, as we close today's general session, we have several announcements for you. Make sure you attend the CABE Film Festival. Today, we're featuring 2 extraordinary films. At 4 to 6 p.m., we're showcasing First Generation, that tells the story of 4 high school students who set out to break the cycle of poverty and bring hope to their families and communities by pursuing a college education. Showing at 7 o'clock, the film Philly Brown features an exceptional cast, including Lou Diamond Phillips, Edward James Olmos, and the legendary Jenny Rivera in her final on-screen performance. This is a special free screening for CABE participants. Popcorn will be served as well. Secondly, don't forget to join us on Facebook and Twitter. Stop by the digital team table if you want to learn how in both English and Spanish. We'd also like to thank our most generous sponsor, National Geographic Cengage. Please do check for workshop changes and new workshops not in the program. We want to remind you to leave your signed action alert letters at the door. Make sure you buy your raffle tickets for today's iPad drawing, which is going to happen at 5 o'clock in the exhibit hall. You can also stop by the CABE store and become a CABE member and receive a free gift. And finally, book signing for Dr. Zhao's book will immediately follow our session. And that convenes our opening session on CABE's second day of the conference. Thank you.